Flat Earth.
The Earth is flat.
I don't understand science.
You are actually in a giant planetarium.
The Earth is absolutely flat.
This is an egg.
The Earth is motionless, just as you feel motionless.
Well, I just got kicked out of Starbucks.
I would call this the stinky butthole of conspiracy theories, but unfortunately, it's even worse. Flat Earth is the month-old crusty dingleberries hanging off the filthy asshole of other conspiracies. I can fuck with some other weird conspiratorial stuff, but this is off the wall. There is literally zero, quote, proof for a flat Earth, and literally all observations conclude that the Earth is in fact a big-ass ball. Now, before I rip apart this idiocy for what it is, I want to propose a question for any potential flat earthers out there. If you can honestly answer this, one of us will change our beliefs. I promise it. 100% YouTube guarantee right here. Star trails. Please explain them to me. We clearly can observe two different sets of star trails depending on if you're in the northern or southern hemisphere. Not only are they completely different night skies to begin with, but they have different points of rotation and are actually observed to be rotating in opposite directions. If the Earth is flat, like you claim, how is this observation possible at all? Please explain this to me. My dumb globe Earth brain cannot understand star trails.
I must be stupid.
So while they steam at the ears trying to make up some bullshit that only makes sense inside their dense little brains, let's move on to having some fun. So why do these people believe the Earth is flat, and what do these flat earthers believe? Let's just dive right in.
I don't understand physics.
Fundamentally, the flat earther lacks a basic understanding of physics, while at the same time proclaiming that they know, quote, our model better than we do, unquote. It is just Dunning-Kruger in action and truly something to behold. If you ever encounter one of these in the wild, I suggest just sitting back and observing for your own amusement before making fun of them. They do not take lightly to being ridiculed, and the fun may stop when you point out how dumb they are. They do not understand gravity, air pressure, water pressure, refraction, buoyancy, or scale, to name a few things. I'll get into all that a little later. But just know these people could not even pass a high school physics exam.
Okay, that's coming in at 212 parts per million tap water. Don't know what that means.
In fact, every time I've seen them challenged with this, they back out rather than showing empirical evidence that they just don't know shit. On top of not understanding grade school science, these people tend to have a severe distrust of authority. Honestly, I can't fault them too much for this, especially in the current times, but the amount of distrust they hold is exponentially higher than what you or I probably have.
We're being lied to by an elite cabal of satanic sorcerers that call themselves scientists.
And it plays a major factor in their thought process and overall rejection of, well, objective reality. Tribalism also has a role to play in this. People in general are looking for a group, something to believe in, to unite together against a common enemy, and this is their cause. Many of these people have devoted their lives to this stupidity, and although I do think most of the big flat earthers have actually realized they are lying, they are so financially invested in the movement, they have to reject the experiments that prove the globe, skew and misconstrue data to fit their narrative, and gloss over details that crush their worldview. We all know this is dangerous. If you truly believe in science, when something comes along that alters your worldview and has actual proof and peer review, and not just a YouTube video saying, the one proof that crushes the global Earth, you adjust with it. We used to think the Earth was the center of the universe. And we now know, based on repeated observations, that that is objectively false. But don't tell flat earthers, they might get mad at you.
Show it to your cult! I dare ya!
Finally, this is one that's hard to get out of them, as they claim they are using science and logic to, quote, prove the Earth is flat. But it's religion. Now, I'm not actually aware of a single religious text that mentions the shape of the Earth. Please correct me if I am wrong. But that is not what religion tends to care about. This is once again flat earthers misrepresenting things to support their narratives. There are some passages that say Earth is immovable and there is a firmament above us, or the waters of heaven or some shit. But that's because people 6,000 years ago didn't know shit and had to fill in the gaps with something that made sense to them. Now, in current year, we have technology and can send things to fucking space, so we know what the fuck this all is. The Bible is not a history or a science textbook, people. It's as simple as that.
It just becomes comical. They know it becomes comical and they have to swerve it at all costs.
Okay, so now that we know why they tend to believe this horseshit, let's talk about a few of the more common beliefs. I can almost guarantee you there will be a flat tard in the comments saying, "We don't believe X, we believe Y." And that's because these people can't even come to an agreement on their own bullshit. They're all just making shit up, and whatever sounds good to them is good for everyone else. They do not have a, quote, model to speak of. And when they talk about a flat earth model, it's just whatever they can think up that day. They have no system to make any type of predictions and rely on our globe earth calculators for everything like sunrise, sunset, and when different planets will be visible in the sky. So anyway, on to these stupid beliefs. First, they think there is no visible curve, water is level, and boats will reappear if you zoom in. This may seem like 3 points, but it's really all part of the same point. They do not understand scale. The earth is fucking huge, and people are really, really, really tiny. If you took every human in the world and stood them shoulder to shoulder, they would all fit on the surface area of Manhattan Island. Wow. The boats will reappear until they don't anymore, and there's nothing you can do to bring them back into view besides go to space because they're on the other side of a ball. I don't know why that's hard to understand when all your fucking boat observations clearly fucking show this. Don't forget the bendy crane arms of the Black Swan too. There are many, many videos of people measuring the curve over bodies of water or flat roads. That dumb fuck Jeranism did it in the Flat Earth documentary, but they're too stupid to accept reality, so they just say the experiment was inconclusive.
Interesting.
Second, they believe that airplanes would have to dip their nose in order to have a level flight around the globe, and then when they get to Australia, they'd be upside down. This is a double whammy of them misunderstanding gravity and air pressure.
You don't know how planes work.
It's a fun one. So in a plane, the engines have to supply enough force to overcome drag and to give enough speed that lift is generated by the wings to counteract gravity. If lift is greater than gravity, plane goes up. If lift is less than gravity, plane go down. If the forces are balanced, plane maintains its height.
Nailed it.
So while maintaining its height at cruising altitude, it literally just has to stay at a constant velocity, and the counteraction of the current lift created by the wings against the force of gravity keeps it going around the ball until it runs out of gas at the same altitude. It really isn't hard to understand, people. Oh, and when you end up in Australia, guess what? You're now on top of the ball from your own perspective, so no, you wouldn't be upside down, you moron, because you don't actually understand how gravity works. Third, and this one actually tilts me, they think gravity doesn't exist. It's just density, brah.
Nope.
If it's just density, why does it go down? The air is more dense down there. Shouldn't it shoot upwards? This also displays their misunderstanding of density and buoyancy, as buoyancy requires the force of gravity to even be calculated. I'm not going to spend much time on this. A scientific theory is established fact. Do your own research. Come on, guys. And besides, gravity isn't just a theory, bro. It's a fucking law. The law of gravity. Google it, mister. Do my own research. I dare you. Fourth, for some reason they think the horizon rises to eye level. Once again, this is just objectively false and easily observed. If you start going straight up, the horizon slowly drops in front of you. It's just extremely difficult for us to perceive because, as stated before, flat earthers don't understand scale. That's pretty much it on this point. As you can see, the arguments tend to get worse and worse. I'm not even straw manning them. This is the stupid shit they believe.
I don't understand gravity.
Fifth, they think we see too far past the horizon because they don't understand how refraction works or how light travels. Yes, on a clear day from sea level, you're going to see something like 5 kilometers or something like that. But that perfect scenario almost never actually happens in real life, especially when looking over water. I know it's hard for these simple people to grasp, but there's this thing called humidity. It's actually a way for us to measure the amount of moisture in the air. It's pretty groundbreaking stuff, I know. So now, when you're looking over a body of water, guess what's likely to be in the air above it? That's right, moisture. Step right up and collect your prize. That's going to affect the distant rays of light and actually causes them to bend slightly, making it look like we, quote, see too far. Once again, very simple to understand, but it explains all their observations perfectly, so they reject it. And let's not forget about those bendy crane arms, guys.
and blow your motherfucking mind.
Next, the dome. They have no idea how the vacuum of space can be next to Earth's atmosphere, and it's really fun to see them struggle with this one. Once again, stemming from not understanding air pressure and gravity. I'm honestly not sure if they think the vacuum of space is supposed to suck like it's a Dyson or some shit, but that's not how that works in the slightest. A vacuum, in science, is a lack of molecules. A vacuum, in your living room, sucks things up. Also, space is not actually a perfect vacuum, but it's close enough that they call it that. There are actually molecules all over the place, but they're so spread out they can't form anything. They might just be like ions anyway. And because of gravity, there's this thing we call a pressure gradient on Earth's atmosphere. At sea level, it's 14.7 psi. But as you rise, that number slowly gets less and less as there's less molecules being pulled down on top of you by the force of gravity. Very simple stuff once again, but they purposely misunderstand it, create a very stupid scenario and say, why isn't the atmosphere being sucked in space? Derp. They also think the moon gives off cold light. Now, this is starting to get a little long, and this is one of their most stupid points. So I'll try to be quick here. Basically, light can't be cold. It's energy. Cold is a lack of energy. You cannot blast things with energy and somehow remove energy from them. They do not understand radiative cooling or light for that matter. If you think light can be cold, I'm sorry, your IQ is probably single digits.
Pretty much everything you see around you is not what it appears to be.
Send me all your money.
Another very dumb point is that most of them think the sun is small and local, not far away and massive. Once again, easily proven to be objectively wrong, because if the sun did what they say it did, everyone on the planet would be able to see it 24 hours a day. Not to mention the easily observed parallel travel of light rays, which would not happen if we had a magic light bulb in the sky. Also, how the fuck do the sun and moon stay up in the sky on a flat Earth? They call an observable, measurable phenomenon, like gravity, magic, while literally explaining things with fucking magic. Oh yes, and let's not forget they reject the notion that the Earth rotates at all, but they think the sky rotates above us or something. I have one clip for that, and I'm done with this point.
A 15-degree-per-hour drift.
Thanks, Bob. And lastly, they generally think everything in the sky moves around the polar center above us. They are very northern-centric. I'm not sure they even know the southern hemisphere exists, except to misunderstand flights and gravity. One trip to Australia or South America would show them how wrong they are, but that would actually challenge their worldview, so they'd rather just make some shit up about flight patterns or Australia being fake or something. My brain is melting now, having addressed these very stupid arguments, and this one really blows my mind. Like, half the Earth just debunks this point, and there's nothing this goes back to my Star Trails thing. Anyway,
Everything in the sky revolves around us.
nope. So that's flat Earth. Pretty stupid, right? Yep. I've honestly just scratched the surface of this rabbit hole, so I will probably make a part 2 eventually. I haven't even touched on the ice wall, circumnavigation, flight paths, or like the Coriolis effect, just to name a few things.
No flights go to Antarctica. Well, they do. There are transatlantic flights.
So clench your buttholes for that one, people. Now, if you even entertain that any of this could be true, you are not, quote, open-minded. You are a moron. If these horribly constructed and awful arguments are able to convince you that, for reasons, well over 1 million people across the world are all conspiring and covering up the true shape of the Earth and nature of reality, you are stupid. Hot take, I know, not afraid to say it. Remember, people, this would mean that multiple generations of people from China, Russia, North Korea, America, Japan, Europe, Canada, Mexico, South, and more, like all the they would all have to agree to do this for more reasons. Who knows why? Just reasons. And it's the Illuminati or something, right? More reasons. And so, yeah, just don't fall for this very shitty conspiracy. Flat Earth, how is this a thing?